the ice queen of the academy. As rumor had it, never got close to any guy. She wasn't interested in romance either. No matter who pursued her, be it the class hunk or the school heartthrob, she'd coldly push them away. But today, in the middle of class, she burst into tears and threw herself into my arms. This scene instantly made all the surrounding guys glare at me with envy. It turned out the Ice Queen and I had both been reborn into the summer when we were 18. In our past life, we were desk mates for 3 years. And I'd secretly had a crush on her for just as long. But back then, I was too shy and could only pour my feelings into a diary. I thought after graduation, we'd be like parallel lines, never to meet again. That was until a rainy night. Many years later, I saw her standing by the roadside. Before I could even say hello, a runaway dump truck came hurtling towards her. Almost instinctively, I rushed forward and shoved her hard out of the way. The next second, the whole world seemed to fall silent. The pouring rain in my vision appeared to freeze. At my funeral, overwhelmed with immense grief and self-blame, she diligently took care of every single detail, big and small. After the funeral, she knelt before my parents and kowtowed 3 times, solemnly vowing to take on the responsibility of caring for them in my place. Her savior. But when she was sorting through my belongings, she found a graduation photo and a diary. Only then did she realize it wasn't a random act of bravery from a stranger, but her former high school deskmate who had unhesitatingly sacrificed his life for her. By the time she finished reading the diary, her eyes were swollen from crying. She discovered that this introverted and shy high school deskmate had liked her for so long. "You coward, if I could live again, I'd be the one to pursue you," she thought. Afterwards, overcome with sadness and guilt, she unknowingly drifted off to sleep. In her dream, she vaguely saw a figure that looked like me drifting in the distance. Instantly, a heart-wrenching wave of sorrow and guilt washed over her. Intense unwillingness and regret filled her chest. Almost unconscious, she faintly heard a familiar lecturing voice. Su Qingyan rubbed her eyes, which felt surprisingly refreshed, and slowly sat up. Then, she was stunned to find herself in a bright and quiet classroom. The surroundings, everything felt so distant yet familiar. She looked up and her eyes met mine. Su Qingyan recognized me instantly. Effortlessly. In a flash, her eyes reddened. A complex mix of excitement, joy, and relief surged through her, making her disregard everyone around and abruptly throw her arms around me. Hugging me tightly, Su Qingyan choked out, her voice laced with tears. "I found you." At that moment, I was completely dumbfounded. A giant question mark seemed to slowly float above my head. What the hell was going on? 1 second I had just celebrated my 34th birthday, heroically saving someone on the street and getting sent flying by a big truck. The next second, I was reborn back in my high school classroom 16 years ago. I hadn't even had time to process and accept such a shocking turn of events before my high school Ice Queen deskmate was crying and hugging me. However, before I could figure out what was happening, an angry voice came from the teacher's desk. "Lin Ran, it's bad enough you're sleeping in class, but now you're harassing your deskmate." I was stunned for a moment, then quickly pushed the Ice Queen deskmate in my arms away. "Teacher, it's a misunderstanding. I really didn't do anything." At this point, Su Qingyan finally understood the situation. She had been reborn into the summer when she was 18. Her savior, who had sacrificed himself for her 16 years later, had transformed back into the teenage boy sitting next to her in 2007. Except, she had just gotten him into quite a bit of trouble. "Enough, Lin Ran. Get out in the hallway and stand there for half an hour." The homeroom teacher, Lu Chun, had reached his limit and roared, ready to deliver the final judgment. Just then, Su Qingyan, who had a clear understanding of the situation, stood up. She looked at the homeroom teacher on the podium and said calmly, "Teacher, you've misunderstood. What just happened has nothing to do with Lin Ran. I was the one who hugged him." The classroom instantly fell silent, followed by an even bigger uproar. The students' eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. The Ice Queen Su actively hugged Lin Ran? How is that possible? Lu Chun also couldn't believe it. "You did it, Qingyan? You don't have to cover for Lin Ran. Tell the truth boldly. Teacher will help you get justice. Su Qingyan's expression remained calm. It's not a cover-up. I just had a nightmare and got scared. It's not Lin Ran's fault. The classmates in the class had a sudden realization. I knew Lin Ran didn't have the guts. So it was just the Ice Queen waking up from a nightmare and grabbing something to hold onto in a panic. So that's how it was. Homeroom teacher Lu Chun's expression also softened slightly. You can sit down now. And Lin Ran, I'll let it go this time. Don't let me see you bullying Qingyan again. After the storm passed, the classroom returned to calm. The boring, sleep-inducing lecture from the podium resumed. In the back row, I let out a sigh of relief. Little did I know that at the same time, my Ice Queen deskmate beside me was staring at me with great interest. In her previous life, it was only a fleeting glimpse before the car accident. After being reborn, this was the first time she could truly scrutinize her future savior at such close range. Compared to over a decade later, the young man in front of her hadn't changed much in appearance. Just that he had a bit more of the greenness and spirit a boy his age should have. Su Xinyan felt a little regretful that she hadn't noticed her deskmate beside her in her previous life. But it was okay, since she was reborn, she had plenty of time. They were deskmates anyway, so there would be enough time to get to know each other slowly. Before her rebirth, she had read my entire diary. Her familiarity and understanding of me were almost second only to my parents. Thinking of this, a smile tugged at the corner of Su Qingyan's mouth. On the surface, Su Qingyan still appeared unfazed. But in her heart, a mini version of herself couldn't help but have stars in her eyes. Almost jumping for joy. Ah, his hair looks so fluffy and soft. His face looks so fair and tender. It must feel good to pinch this shy and introverted little puppy. I want to tease him. Reborn, the Ice Queen, now a company president with the mental age of someone in her early 30s. Had maintained a cold and domineering strong woman image even at work in her past life. Which was why she had remained single for so many years. Who would have thought she would now turn into such a lovesick fool? Even Su Qingyan herself hadn't expected it. But at this moment, she was enjoying it immensely. Taking advantage of the teacher not paying attention, she continued to stare intently at the person beside her. At this point, I finally couldn't take it anymore. I had been feeling a chill since just now. As if I was being watched by a vixen. Even without turning my head, I could clearly feel a pair of eyes shamelessly scanning me. But every time I turned to look, my Ice Queen deskmate would, with astonishing speed, turn back even faster, resuming a serious, cold, and arrogant posture. The moment I looked away, I would immediately feel her gaze secretly fall back on me. The corner of my mouth twitched uncontrollably. I wrote a note on a piece of paper and pushed it over. Sis. What on earth are you trying to do? The cold Ice Queen deskmate just glanced lightly at the note. And after a moment, pushed it back. On the back of the note was written, "Don't pass notes in class." Little did I know that while Su Qingyan appeared cold on the surface, the mini version of her in her heart was already cheering and screaming. Rolling all over the floor. Ah, what to do? My heart is melting. He called me, sis. The class with the beautiful Ice Queen beside me felt like an eternity. Finally, when class was over, I quickly darted out the back door of the classroom and onto the hallway. I could finally breathe some fresh air and collect myself. During that one class, I had been secretly glanced at by my Ice Queen deskmate countless times. If I didn't know her personality was that of a cold Ice Queen goddess, I would even suspect she was deliberately teasing me. Just then, a Jiaoqi, delicate, spoiled, female voice that was once incredibly familiar came from behind me. I turned my head and saw a girl in a summer school uniform walking towards me. Seeing this familiar figure, I remembered that I seemed to have had some dark history with her. In my past life, even though I sat next to the beautiful Ice Queen deskmate, I didn't have any romantic thoughts about her. On one hand, it was because I was introverted and didn't have the courage to face Su Qingyan. On the other hand, it was because my heart already belonged to someone else, Shen Lingshan from class 7 of the same grade. Who knew that this Shen Lingshan, sweet and cute on the surface, was actually a queen of players. And the furthest I ever got with Shen Lingshan was her allowing me to hold her hand twice. Every time I wanted to confess and confirm our relationship, she would always string me along and refuse. Until the night of the college entrance exam graduation, I saw her boldly kissing a rich second-generation guy. The cute warrior's heart shattered on the spot. But since I was reborn this time, I naturally wouldn't be a Tiangu simp, bootlicker, anymore. And at this moment, Shen Lingshan was pulling her best friend Kui Qianqin along. Coming over from class 7 downstairs, Shen Lingshan, standing in front of me, still had a cheerful look on her face. Lin Ran, Qianqin and I want to eat ice cream. Can you go to the tuck shop and buy some for us? Kui Qianqin beside her also looked impatient. Hurry up, there are only 7 minutes left in the break. If you don't go now, it'll be too late. If it were my past life, I probably would have been overjoyed and eagerly run the errand. But now, I had long seen through Shen Lingshan's tricks. However, with the mental age of a man in his 30s, I wouldn't stoop to arguing with a young girl. After thinking for a moment, I decided to politely decline. Are you sick? If you're not sick, why don't you just go buy it yourselves? Shen Lingshan and Kui Qianqin were stunned when they heard this. Almost doubting if they had heard correctly, Shen Lingshan snapped back to reality and quickly put on a wronged and pitiful look. Fine, if you buy us ice cream, I promise to have lunch with you today. After saying this, a triumphant look appeared on Shen Lingshan's face. Unexpectedly, I looked at Shen Lingshan as if she were a scammer. With an incredulous expression, you still want to freeload off my lunch money? This sudden plot twist made Shen Lingshan's head buzz. She was clearly doing me a favor by offering to eat with me. How could I seem unwilling? This was completely different from the reaction she had expected. Shen Lingshan couldn't help but get annoyed. Stomping her foot. Are you going or not? If you don't go, the matter of me considering holding your hand is off. You'll never have a chance. After quickly saying this, Shen Lingshan felt a sense of relief. Looking at me with renewed confidence and pride, complacency. I was indeed stunned for a moment when I heard that. I had been strung along by Shen Lingshan for 2 or 3 years. And had only held her hand twice. That was close to graduation. And according to what Shen Lingshan was saying now, our first hand-holding hadn't even happened yet. Which meant my body was still pure. Right? The surprise was sudden. I looked at Shen Lingshan in front of me and said with sincere gratitude. Thank you, bro. Having been reborn, such an important thing as holding a girl's hand for the first time. How could it be sullied by the dirty hands of a queen of players? Thankfully, the terrible thing hadn't happened yet. Shen Lingshan was taken aback, not quite understanding the meaning of thank you. But soon, she thought I had admitted defeat and softened. She immediately became even prouder. Scared now, huh? If you're scared, then hurry up and get the ice cream. I want Magnum. If you go late, you'll never get to hold my hand in this lifetime. My eyebrows shot up in delight. Don't worry, I definitely won't go. The air suddenly fell silent for a moment. Shen Lingshan, huh? Coming back to her senses. She was both anxious and angry. Did you even understand what I said? If you don't go, I won't hold your hand. I nodded vigorously. It's a deal. No take-backs. It's for a lifetime, right? I didn't forget to confirm again. Just to be sure. Kui Qianqin beside her also got angry at this point. Lin Ran, can you understand human language? Shen Lingshan said if you don't buy ice cream, you'll never get to hold her hand in this lifetime. Just then, a cold and pleasant voice suddenly rang out. Of course, he understands. But do you two not understand human language? Su Xinyan walked straight up to Shen Lingshan and Kui Qianqin. Whether intentionally or not, she shielded me behind her like a mother hen protecting her chick. Then, she stood tall enough to look down on them coldly. Lin Ran said he's not interested in you. Aren't you ashamed to keep pestering him like this? It was like a stone thrown into a calm lake, causing ripples. The entire hallway was almost in an uproar. All the onlookers stared with wide eyes, unable to believe the sudden appearance of the Great Ice Queen Su. Holy cow, the Great Ice Queen Su is actually defending Lin Ran? Standing up for Lin Ran? Amidst the shock and sensation, Su Qingyun's expression didn't change. She continued to look coldly at the girl in front of her, who was half a head shorter. Shen Lingshan from Class 7. Year 3. Having read all my diaries in her previous life, she could effortlessly confirm the other person's identity. And naturally, she knew exactly how much emotional damage this sweet and cute-looking girl had caused me. Just recalling the sad words in the diary was enough to make a wave of anger rise in her heart for no reason. It wasn't purely a sense of justice acting up, it was more like the annoyance of seeing her own precious cabbage being gnawed by a wild boar. At this moment, Su Qingyun's expression on the surface was still as cold as frost. But the mini version of her in her heart had long since thrown off her cloak. Her anger soaring to the heavens. The man I your mother have my eyes on. Is he someone you can touch? Looking at the Ice Queen deskmate who had appeared out of nowhere and was now protectively standing in front of me. A large question mark slowly appeared above my head again. What was this situation now? As the universally acknowledged Ice Queen of the school, Su Xinyan had always maintained a cold and aloof demeanor. Whether in class or in the grade, she also never easily participated in any student's private activities or conflicts. So why would she suddenly stand up now and confront this Shen Lingshan? Did she have some feud with Shen Lingshan? Shen Lingshan and Kui Qianqin were also caught off guard by the situation. Especially when facing the tall and slender, school-acknowledged Ice Queen, Shen Lingshan, the belle of Class 7, was clearly outmatched in terms of figure, looks, popularity, and prestige. Thus, at this moment, she couldn't help but feel a little flustered and subconsciously took a step back. Exchanging glances with her best friend, both girls were puzzled. They shouldn't have any beef with this Su Qingyun, right? Why would she suddenly stand up and confront them? Although she lacked confidence, with so many students watching in the hallway, Shen Lingshan couldn't show weakness. She braced herself and met Su Qingyun's gaze. Su Qingyun, we were talking to Lin Ran. What does it have to do with you? Kui Qianqin beside her also mustered up the courage to chime in. Yeah, Su Qingyun, what's your relationship with Lin Ran? Oh, we're looking for him. What are you meddling for? Towards the end, unable to withstand Su Qingyun's cold gaze, Kui Qianqin's voice involuntarily weakened. My relationship with Lin Ran? He saved me, so willingly that he got hit by a truck. What do you think our relationship is? I knelt before his aunt and uncle, kowtowed, and even changed to calling them Mom and Dad. What do you think our relationship is? The mini-me in her heart stood up, impassioned, but on the surface, Su Qingyun remained calm and composed, merely saying lightly, I'm his deskmate. As soon as these words came out, Shen Lingshan and Kui Qianqin both breathed a sigh of relief. Kui Qianqin pouted, showing a dismissive expression. Oh, just a deskmate. I thought it was something serious. Su Xinyan's expression remained indifferent. Her gaze swept over Shen Lingshan, who also looked somewhat dismissive, and a hint of mockery appeared in her eyes. And you? What's your relationship with Lin Ran? Shen Lingshan subconsciously opened her mouth but suddenly faltered. Because her relationship with me was even more undefined, she really couldn't answer this question. In a flash of inspiration, she blurted out, Lin Ran and I are good friends. Kui Qianqin beside her immediately nodded and quickly added, that's right, and the kind of good friends who have a chance to hold hands. After saying that, she didn't forget to glance sideways at Su Qingyun, clearly with a hint of triumphant provocation. But after Su Qingyun heard this, the mockery in her eyes deepened. Really? A good friend who has to run errands for you just to hold hands? Shen Lingshan's pretty face flushed crimson in an instant. Kui Qianqin couldn't help but defend her best friend, retorting loudly, that's Lin Ran being willing. Lingshan didn't force him. Su Xinyan, however, ignored Shen Lingshan and Kui Qianqin. The two girls turned to look at me. Her tone was flat, as if lecturing. Wipe your eyes clean in the future. When making friends, don't make friends with these kinds of unsavory people who love to take advantage of others. Pausing here, as if she remembered something, she added lightly, also, if you really want to hold a girl's hand, hold mine. No errands. Free of charge. One sentence left Shen Lingshan, Kui Qianqin, and all the students in the hallway stunned and dizzy. In the next second, the Ice Queen girl extended her fair arm and very naturally placed her hand into the palm of her deskmate boy. Like a princess extending an invitation to her loyal knight. Then, she clasped his hand and took the initiative to lead him. This scene was seared into the eyeballs of everyone present. For me at this moment, I was equally dumbfounded. I hadn't figured out the situation yet. The next second, I only felt a cool, smooth, and tender touch in my palm. Before I could react, my right hand was already held by that fair hand. Then, I heard my Ice Queen deskmate give a calm and casual instruction. Class is starting. Let's go back to our seats. Then, a pulling force came from my right hand. And just like that, I was dazedly led back to the classroom by my Ice Queen deskmate. Just then, the class bell rang sharply. Countless students woke up as if from a dream. Before they could digest the shock of the scene they had just witnessed, they hurriedly scattered and rushed back to their respective classrooms, leaving only Shen Lingshan and Kui Qianqin standing there, dumbstruck. After Su Qingyan and I returned to the classroom, the atmosphere was strangely quiet. I glanced at my Ice Queen deskmate beside me and tried to organize my words. After trying for a long time, I still couldn't form a complete sentence. The plot development was too outrageous. It really stumped me. What on earth was going on? This scene didn't happen in my previous life. As if sensing my confusion, Su Xinyan's expression was calm as usual. She said lightly, "Don't misunderstand. I just couldn't stand those two girls taking advantage of people. Holding hands is no big deal. Don't take it to heart." Although the great Ice Queen said so, the mini version of her in her heart was already beaming with joy. Woohoo! I held my little deskmate's hand. In her previous life, she had read my diary. Su Qingyan clearly remembered that the first time I held hands with a girl was with Shen Lingshan, and it only happened in the last 2 weeks before graduation. But in this life, Su Qingyan had successfully intercepted it. What Shen Lingshan? Green tea slag? Keep your dirty little hands to yourself. After hearing Su Xinyan's explanation, I also showed a look of understanding. This explanation made much more sense and was consistent with the Ice Queen personality of my deskmate. But then I hesitated again. That, as if Su Xinyan had already guessed my thoughts. She continued to maintain her cold demeanor and said, "The hold hands whenever you want thing. I was just saying it casually. You don't have to take it seriously." At the same time, the mini version of her in her heart was chattering wildly. "You must take it seriously. Little Lin Ran, you can hold sister's hand whenever you want. As many times as you want. Doesn't sister owe you a life? Don't be polite." But on the surface, Su Qingyan looked at me. Her expression faint. "Any other questions?" I nodded honestly, then looked at my right hand, which my Ice Queen deskmate hadn't let go of. "This hand, can we let go of it now?" "Sorry, I forgot." The great Ice Queen's expression was cold and indifferent, as if nothing had happened, and she naturally let go of my hand. In reality, the mini version of her in her heart was looking regretful. I got caught. I wanted to hold it a little longer. Little deskmate's hand is so warm. I want to hold it again. The last class this morning was history. During class, I thought about it and felt that no matter the reason, since my Ice Queen deskmate had helped me out, I should at least express my gratitude out of politeness. So I wrote another note and passed it over. "Thank you." The Ice Queen deskmate glanced at the note, continued to look at the history teacher lecturing on the podium with a cold expression, and at the same time, scribbled a few words on the note with her pen and pushed it back. "How to write it?" I scribbled on the note again. "How do you want to write it?" and pushed it over. After seeing the content, a barely perceptible smile seemed to tug at the corner of the Ice Queen deskmate's mouth. Then she quickly wrote another line on the note. "Call me, sister, and let me hear it." And when I saw the content, I almost choked. I couldn't help but look up at my Ice Queen deskmate. But she was still listening attentively with a focused expression. It was hard to believe that such a cold face could say such outrageous words on a note. My Ice Queen deskmate had this kind of special fetish? I was completely bewildered and could only attribute it to knowing too little about her in my previous life. But, sister, was definitely out of the question. Otherwise, where would the pride of a mature man with the mental age of over 30 go? I continued to write on the note and passed it back. No way. Change it. The Ice Queen deskmate glanced at the note again, quickly wrote something else, and pushed it back, then treat me to lunch. Looking at the note, I somehow felt like I had been tricked. At the same time, Su Qingyan, sitting beside me, had another smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. Little thing, you think sister can't handle you? After class, the students all rushed to the school cafeteria. Just as Su Qingyan and I reached the entrance of the school cafeteria, we saw that it was packed with people. If we went in now, we probably wouldn't even be able to find a seat. Then I proposed a plan to Su Qingyan beside me. Let's eat at the school gate. The Ice Queen deskmate nodded with a calm expression. As she spoke, she casually brushed a strand of loose hair from her forehead. Seeing this, my heart almost skipped a beat. My Ice Queen deskmate noticed my gaze and raised her hand towards me. Want to hold hands? My head instantly shook like a rattle drum. No, no, no. It's my first day reborn. I don't want to be ganged up on and beaten to death by jealous and furious classmates. So I immediately turned and scurried towards the school gate. Su Qingyan, who was left behind, looked at my fleeing figure, pouted slightly, showing a hint of regret and disappointment. Little deskmate is still too shy. Then she smiled enchantingly and quickened her pace to follow. After arriving at a restaurant near the school gate, the two of us found an empty table and sat down. I looked up at the printed menu pasted on the wall. At this moment, Su Qingyan had already ordered a scallion fried lamb with rice for the owner. Then she turned to look at me. What do you want to eat? I felt like my heart was bleeding. I'll have a tomato and egg stir-fry with rice. 5 yuan a serving. It's already the cheapest on the menu. Su Qingyan frowned slightly. So plain? You don't eat meat? It's fine. I'm allergic to meat. At the same time, the mini-Q version Lin ran and my heart had tears in his eyes. Actually, I'm allergic to expensive things. Nonsense. Su Qingyan glanced at me lightly and immediately made the decision herself. Changing my order to a potato and beef rice bowl. She also ordered 2 cans of iced plum juice, opened one, and casually placed it in front of me. Finally, she didn't forget to say in a cold, instructive tone, eat more meat so you have energy for studying. I thought to myself, it's not your money, so you're not heartbroken, huh? But since it was already ordered, there was no point in regretting it. And at this moment, Su Qingyan, who was drinking her drink, asked coolly, you spent more than half of your weekly allowance on Shenlingshan? I coughed violently, almost choking on the plum juice I had just drunk. How did you know? Su Qingyan maintained a nonchalant, cold demeanor. Many people in school know. I heard it from someone. My head thudded onto the table. Speechless. So the news of me being a simp had already spread so far and wide? And Su Qingyan, seeing my silent appearance, thought I was still thinking about Shenlingshan. Instantly, the great Ice Queen's willow-like eyebrows knitted together. This won't do. The man she, Su Qingyan, had painstakingly found after being reborn. How could he be easily swayed by a queen of players and a scummy girl? However, Su Qingyan looked at me sitting opposite her again. A hint of worry in her eyes. This silly little deskmate of hers is simple and introverted. How could he be a match for a green tea bad woman like Shenlingshan? One careless mistake and he'd be tricked and deceived. Losing even his underwear. Su Qingyan immediately made up her mind. She had to give this silly little deskmate in front of her a good lesson. Instantly, she cleared her throat, then put on a cold demeanor and began her educational work. It's understandable for boys your age to have some vague longing and pursuit for the opposite sex. But even for boys, you must learn to protect yourselves when you're out and about. The world of relationships is very dangerous. Don't be easily fooled by some girl's sweet talk. By the time you want to regret it, it'll be too late. As I listened, a giant question mark slowly appeared above my head. Something was wrong. Why did this Ice Queen deskmate suddenly seem to be lecturing me? And she was even guiding and educating me on relationship problems? The style was a bit strange. Seeing my expression, Su Qingyan thought I was unconvinced. She smiled faintly. What? Unconvinced? Do you think you're actually very smart and definitely won't be easily fooled? I smiled wryly. Bro, I'm a dignified reincarnator, 18 years old, with the soul of a 34-year-old. What storms haven't I seen? Little Ice Queen, you're just an underage little girl. And you're lecturing me? You're acting a bit too old for your age. Before I could smile calmly and prepare to explain, my Ice Queen deskmate in front of me had already spoken calmly. One step ahead. First semester of high school. Shen Lingshan called you, Brother Lin Ran. And you gave her your entire month's allowance to buy celebrity albums for her. Last winter vacation, she said, our Lin Ran is the best. You were like you were on chicken blood. Riding your bicycle every day to deliver her love breakfasts for half a month. This New Year's Day, she said she was considering holding your hand, and you excitedly handed over 2 months' worth of meal money. Just to get a thank you. From the events to the lines, to the time, place, and specific details, it was incredibly detailed, with everything included. I listened, dumbfounded, my mind like 10,000 alpacas stampeding through, leaving only 2 holy cows fluttering in the wind. Seeing my dumbstruck and truthful appearance, a smile flashed across Su Xinyan's cold face. The corners of her mouth slightly raised. There's more. Should I continue? As she spoke, she picked up her straw and leisurely took a small sip of plum juice. Su Qingyan's gaze swept over me coolly. Convinced yet? Convinced. I shamefully slammed my head onto the table. Bro, these 3 years of high school, I was a pure titanium alloy simp. There's no washing this off. Suddenly, I looked up at my deskmate, the Ice Queen, sitting opposite me, and asked with a puzzled face. How do you know so clearly? The great Ice Queen's face remained cold and indifferent. Her expression unchanged. Many people know. I heard it from someone. My head thudded onto the table again. Good heavens. Social death. Part 2. Seeing my dejected look, a smile flashed across Su Xinyan's face, and she quickly resumed her cold demeanor. Now that you know, then promise me you won't be easily fooled by others anymore. Stay away from that kind of girl. I nodded deeply with a serious expression. Su Xinyan, while eating the rice bowl that had just been served, continued to press her advantage and expand her victory. Boys your age should still focus. At this stage, studying hard and getting into a good university is the main task. If other girls want to hang out with you, learn to say no. If someone like me invites you to dinner, firmly refuse. If you find out that any other girls in the class or grade are interested in you, report to me immediately. As I listened, something suddenly felt off. I immediately looked up with a bewildered expression at my Ice Queen deskmate in front of me. Other girls are interested in me? Why do I have to report to you? And why can't other girls treat me to dinner? But it's okay if you do. The great Ice Queen's expression was calm and composed. Her face unchanging. I'm the class monitor. I have the responsibility to supervise the learning status of the students in the class and ensure they are not affected. As for treating to dinner, we are deskmates. It's normal for deskmates to eat together. I listened, stunned. In the face of my bewilderment, my Ice Queen deskmate maintained a cold and indifferent appearance, showing no sign of guilt or lying. So, I slowly began to believe and accept it, thinking that this usually cold and aloof Ice Queen deskmate was actually so concerned about me out of kindness and her responsibility as class monitor. I couldn't help but feel a little touched. So when I looked at my Ice Queen deskmate in front of me, I said sincerely, thank you. On the surface, Su Qingyan still maintained a calm and composed expression. You're welcome. I should. So how do you plan to thank me? The feeling of gratitude that was brewing was forcibly suppressed, almost suffocating me. How do you want to be thanked? The great Ice Queen seemed to consider it casually for a moment, looking completely uncalculated. Then call me, sister, and let me hear it. I looked at my deskmate, the Ice Queen, in front of me with a dark expression. I can't. How can I? You can't. No matter what? I'll pay for this meal, sis. The great Ice Queen's expression didn't change at all. She just nodded noncommittally. Then she calmly stood up. casually ruffled my hair, and left with a light and casual, "Be good." Then she turned and walked to the counter to pay the bill. And then leisurely walked out the door. I stared at the Ice Queen deskmate's departing figure, somewhat dazed. Then I suddenly came to my senses. Had I just been taken advantage of by the little Ice Queen? Who even ruffled my head? Meanwhile, the Ice Queen who had walked out of the restaurant. Her inner mini-me was beaming with joy. I successfully took advantage of little Lin Ran. So happy. Little deskmate's hair feels so good to ruffle. I'll do it again next time. When I also came out of the restaurant, Su Xinyan asked me to wait for her at the entrance of a small supermarket for a moment. And just then, a familiar, delicate female voice came from behind. Lin Ran. I turned my head to look for the source of the voice and saw Shen Lingshan walking out of a noodle shop next door. She stood on the steps at the entrance, looking down at me. "What? Have you decided to apologize to me?"